Welcome and thank you for joining me. This is the Ox Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Big Book, aka Ox. And do me a favor, before we get started, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you'll be notified anytime I drop any new content. All right, the Detroit Lions and the Tennessee Titans. Complete destruction. And it's something that I was looking for because you have a lot of people who say, well, they should beat them, and it shouldn't be a contest, and, you can't take nothing from it. Listen, if you've seen Baltimore and Cleveland, that lets you know that you have to take every game serious in the NFL. Plain and simple. Anybody can be beat on any given Sunday. And the fact that it shows you're a good team when you go out and you handle your business. I would say 52-14 is handling your business. Now, it started off a little rocky. It did tied up at 14. Basically, Tennessee just marched down the field twice. And I was thinking like, okay, here we go. Taking them light, not putting forth the effort that needs to be put forth when you're playing these kind of teams. You get out here, when you play these kind of teams that you should beat by a nice margin, you get out here and you play the game, and you play your game. You don't play down to the level of your opponents. If you play your game, you can be out of the game by the third quarter, and that's really what happened. But the thing is, a lot of the numbers was crazy. This game did not follow the usual script to get this score 52-14, because if you just look at the statistics, Detroit was outplayed. I mean, Tennessee had more first downs. Tennessee had more plays, total yards. Tennessee had more drives. They had more yards per play. They had more passing yards. Tennessee did not play bad. The defense played great, actually. They were put in bad positions. And when you're a good team like Detroit, you take advantage of them. Total yards, 416 for Tennessee. Detroit only 225. Tennessee ran 71 plays. Detroit 47. Tennessee 23 first downs. Detroit 17. Yards per play almost 6 for Tennessee. 4.8 for Detroit. Passing 258 for Tennessee. Detroit 61. 61 yards passing. But there's one or two games a year where your special teams has to step up and win the game for you. And that's what this game was. The offense didn't have to do too much. The defense played average. And the special teams really put Tennessee behind the ball. The special teams had a great game. A great game. Almost 300 yards in special teams. Kalif Raymond did his thing. He did his thing. And there's some numbers that I have from this game that are absolutely astounding. Just astounding. The fact that we still have more touchdowns than incompletions through the last 5 games is crazy in itself. It's crazy in itself. But what you wanted to see as a Detroit fan is Detroit come out, control the game, dominate the game, and get out unscathed. For the most part, that's what they did. That's what they did. That's what your great teams do. They put a beat down on teams that they should, and it's on to the next. And it's on to the next. So, before we get into these statistics that are absolutely just mind-boggling, let's talk a little about the game. Started off slow, like I said. 3-and-out for Detroit. Tennessee gets the ball, turn it over. Detroit goes and scores. Tennessee gets it back. They drive right down the field and score. Detroit drives down and they score 14-7. Tennessee ties it up. From there, special teams just took over the game. That was probably the best special teams game that I have seen as a Detroit Lion fan. And I've watched a lot of Detroit Lion games. That was truly a sight to see. Because like I said, Tennessee's defense did not play bad. If you look at the statistics, they didn't. It was the special teams that blew the game open. Jared Goff, he was still accurate. He still had a very good game. He was 12 for 15. He only had 85 yards though, but he had 3 touchdowns. Great numbers. Jahmyr Gibbs, 127 yards rushing. 127 yards rushing. The Lions had a lot of explosive plays in the game, not just from special teams, but when the offense did have to produce, they did. I believe that this was the first game in NFL history, that a team had 5 scoring drives of less than 30 yards. And that's what Detroit had. 5 scoring drives of less than 30 yards. Sam Laporta, 6 receptions for 48 yards. He had a touchdown. Khalif Raymond had a touchdown. Brock Wright, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, 6 different Lions scored a touchdown. 6 different Lions scored a touchdown. That's the first, I believe that's the first time since 1956. I think. I'll have to double check on that. But I know that they're 6-1 for the first time since 1956. This team is breaking a lot of records in the process of winning. We talked about the offense. It's not really too much to talk about. It's not. They had 5 drives for less than 30 yards. They scored on them. There wasn't a lot of total yards. It wasn't too much to talk about. It wasn't too much. Defensively, they had their hiccups. And I'm telling you, I really don't want the scores from this game, the 52-14 and the, what was it, 47-9, 48-9 against Dallas. I don't want people to look at those scores and think that we do not need to replace Aiden Hutchinson, because it seems like either we're getting a sack or the quarterback has all day to pass. He has all day to pass. And that's not good, especially when you get into the playoffs. You're playing these other teams who have quarterbacks that can really hurt you. Mason Rudolph isn't going to hurt you. If Dak Prescott is throwing a lot, he's going to give you a couple chances for a couple INTs. He likes to stare down CeeDee Lamb. So he kind of telegraphs what he's going to do. But, man, when we start getting into the playoffs and we're playing better quarterbacks, we need pressure. The more pressure you have, the better your defensive backs are. Because the quarterback has got to get rid of the ball. And if you're not pressuring the quarterback, it doesn't matter if you got Deion Sanders back there. You only can cover a wide receiver for so long. And the quarterback is going to find him. This is the NFL. We're not getting pressure on the quarterback. Not like we need to. Not to win a Super Bowl. That part has to get fixed. And I hope, because we've been dominant in these last couple games, actually the last four, you know, I love the domination that we have shown, but it cannot mask the fact that we need to replace Aiden. And I'm going to tell you, Arden Key looked very good in that game for Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't have anything going for them, and Arden Key looked really good. He looked real good. So if we can't get, Max Crosby, we can't get Myles Garrett, he is somebody that I believe would help us out tremendously. Tremendously. They shouldn't even have let him leave town. He should have left the stadium. They should have took him right upstairs, sit down in the conference room, and tried to hash something out, some kind of trade out. He played great. He really did. We're still giving up too much yardage in the passing game. I don't like the fact that Terrion Arnold is playing 10, 12 yards off guys. We're giving guys 7, 8 yard slants. We're giving guys 7, 8 yard outs. And I think it's because we've been burnt the last couple weeks. We got to fix that. And the way you fix that is pressure. The way you fix it is pressure. So I hope that they look into it the way they need to, and I hope that they understand that that is something that they need to fix. They need to fix it. So some of these numbers I was telling you about, right quick, crazy numbers. How about this? Let's talk about Jared Goff. No, he didn't have a big day as far as yardage-wise, but he still gave you 3 touchdowns. He still was very accurate. He also, Sunday, became the third quarterback in NFL history with a passing rating of 125 or higher, with a minimum of 15 attempts per game. The other two to do so are Russell Wilson and Ryan Tannehill. Only 3 in NFL history. Jahmyr Gibbs, the running back, became the 4th player in NFL history to average 5 yards per carry with a minimum of 10 attempts in 6 straight games. He averaged 11.5 on 11 carries Sunday, along with a touchdown of 70 yards. These are records that Detroit is setting and winning at the same time. They did all of this Sunday, though. Punt returner Khalif Raymond averaged 38 yards per return on his 5 punt returns. That's the highest average by a returner with at least 5 punt returns in a single game since the 1970 merger of the AFL and the NFL. This is all in the same game. He had 190 return yards by himself, and he was 17 yards off of the NFL single game record, which is held by Leroy Irvin. He had 207 against the Falcons. The Lions, 52 points. That's a franchise record. The single game record is 55, set in 97 against the Bears. How about this? How about Jack Fox? He became the only player in NFL history to average at least 60 gross yards per punt and 55 net yards per punt in a single game with at least 5 punt attempts. I'm telling you, man, this is all in one game. The Lions play great. They just have a couple of things to fix. And really, you got to get that defensive line set up to where we can run the table, get that number 1 seed, and do what we need to do in the playoffs. The Lions netted just 61 passing yards. That's it. 61. Tennessee did not play bad. 83%. 83% passing completion percentage over 5 games. Jared Goff. His 146.5 passer rating during that time also ranks first. That is an NFL record for the highest completion percentage. I'm not even, there's so much more. I'm not even going to go into it. But there are other records. They said about another 6 or 7 records in that game. That's why it went the way it went. But you do what you're supposed to do when you play teams like that. And like I said, 1 or 2 games a year, special teams has to win the game. They have to win the game. I'm not talking about kicking a game-winning field goal. I'm talking about actually winning the game. Blocking a punt, making 4, 5, 6 field goals, taking a kickoff back for a touchdown, taking a punt back for a touchdown, winning the game. And that was the game Sunday. That was the game Sunday. So now we go into Green Bay. We're going on all cylinders. Offense is playing great. Defense is playing good enough. But if Jordan Love is playing, I'm telling you, we have to get pressure on Jordan Love. He is too good of a quarterback just to sit back there for 8 to 9 seconds. He's going to find people open. So I believe we should go into Green Bay and win that game, whether Love is playing or not. You know, hopefully Jared Goff is okay. It seemed like he tweaked his ankle. Kept him in. I think they kept him in a little too long. I would have liked to see them take him out middle of the third quarter. But they kept him in. I'm glad that he didn't injure it any further. He said he was okay after the game. So we'll see what happens. But right now, Detroit's got it going. They've got it going. Offense, defense, special teams. And we're going to see if we can keep that locomotive rolling. Because Detroit can win always. They can win by rushing the ball. They can win by passing. And now you see that you have to be weary of our special teams. So, in a nutshell, that's what it was, 52-14. It was a beatdown. And it was something that we needed to do. I wouldn't have felt good if we beat them 24-10, 24-7. So this was expected. And, you know, things are different now in Detroit. Things are different now here in Detroit. It's a problem when you see that lion on that schedule now. So, listen, you didn't have to be here. I appreciate you being here. Please come back, listen again. And like I said before, if you like the video, share it. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. Hit that notification bell so you can be notified anytime I drop any new content. And until the next time, you have a great day, you have a good night, and God bless.